Okay, thank you, the Sergeant. May I welcome Waziri and the CEO to this session. And before we proceed, I would like to request the Sergeant at Arms to place the team under oath.
I, Isaiah Kiplagat Keter, do hereby affirm to testify on all matters in question and to tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
I, Mr. Jonathan, do hereby affirm to testify on all matters in question and to tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Okay, thank you, the Sergeant at Arms. Maybe before we proceed, I would like to take the team on the mandate of the committee. The committee was established by the House with the following mandate. With respect to flagship projects, flag and alleged non-existent projects as spelled out in the implementation committee reports laid on the table of the House on 17th September 2024. 1. Investigate whether there was financial impropriety across all the departments. 2. Establish whether there was a breach of the Constitution or any other applicable law by state/public officers in the execution of projects. 3. Investigate whether the laid down procurement processes was followed in the award of tenders. 4. Recommend appropriate action to be taken against identified breaches and all responsible parties accountable. B. Establish the actual cost of personnel emoluments incurred during financial year 22-23 and 23-24, and circumstances, if any, occasioning violation of Section 107 of the Public Finance Management Act, and whether public funds were irregularly paid for personnel emoluments. C. With respect to the Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project, investigate on the following. A. Whether the funds were utilized in a prudent and responsible way. B. Beneficiaries and their physical location. C. Whether the procurement processes were adhered to. D. With respect to the hire of county machinery or motor vehicles as contained in the Project Implementation Committee report laid on the table of the House on 17th September 2024, establish 1. the circumstances leading to the hire of road machinery or motor vehicles. 2, whether the tendering process was adhered to in accordance with the procurement and other applicable laws. 3, the actual work done and locations. 4, the total amount of money paid vis-a-vis the budget allocation. 5, whether there was value for money. And finally, the committee is mandated to report back on the findings and propose appropriate measures. Okay, honorable members and Waziri, maybe before I proceed, I would like to read to Waziri and the CEO Section 185 of the Constitution. Article 195, sorry. Article 195, 1. A county assembly or any of its committees has powers to summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence or providing information. 2, for the purpose of clause 1, an assembly has the same powers as the High Court to 1A, enforce the attendance of witnesses and examine them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise. B, compel the production of documents, and C, issue a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad. Those are the powers of the ad hoc committee. And maybe as we shall be going along, I will also read Article 185 of the same Constitution. So maybe Waziri and the CEO have with me, honorable members, there are some copies of letters on the issue. You remember the other time we had an issue to do with the appointment of the CEO as acting administration. And with me, I have the same letters, and I can request the Sergeant at Arms to provide copies to the honorable members. Please, Sergeant at Arms, provide copies, especially the three copies of. We have the first copy, appointment as the Acting Chief Officer, Administration and Public Service. That was made on 1st July 2023. We have an extension that was done on 29 December 2023. And we also have an extension that was done on 28 June 2024. So just print the 3 copies for the honorable members to have a look at them. So otherwise, Waziri, I will invite you to give a brief description of the department, please.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. And once again, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, thank you so much for according us this opportunity together with the Chief Officer to appear and testify before this committee. It is a summon before this ad hoc committee, and thank you for reading to us the powers of the ad hoc committee as enshrined in our Constitution. Honorable Chair, the Department of Administration, Public Service, and ICT is a department that I have been serving in ever since I got, after being appointed by His Excellency the Governor, I got the favor from this house after vetting, and they granted me the opportunity to serve. It's a position I've been serving in, save for the period under which there was that nullification exercise by the court. And it is a department that I have been serving in, Honorable Chair and honorable members. A brief description of the department is that we are trying and giving our best, despite the fact that sometimes the effort that you put in delivering service sometimes does not amount to actual service delivered, but we have been trying and giving our best in the assignment that was bestowed upon us, Honorable Chair, honorable members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Waziri. We have a checklist of compliance, and I would wish that I go through so that you can confirm compliance. When the department was summoned, there was some documents that were needed. So I want to give my vice chair to go through as you check whether you've complied.
Okay, the first one is through the chair. Okay, with respect to okay, let me go through. The first one is that with respect to EDRMEMS, phase 1, digitalization of registry, you are required to provide documents on how the funds were utilized. Okay, do you have the said document? Okay, and then the next one, on the requisition of waste receptacles, kindly provide procurement documents. Inspect 1. Do you have those ones? Okay.
Maybe
LPO.
as an interjection, Vice Chair, have you submitted?
Chair, we did submit by the deadline of the other Friday via the email which was given ad hoc at nandiassembly.go.ke.
Okay, with copies of payment and completion certificate.
We provided the evidence about this project.
Okay, the third one, on the establishment of disaster management sheds at Nandi Hills and Mosoriot, you are required to provide 1, procurement documents. 2, quotations, award tendered letters, and C, award of tendered minutes. D, copy of inspection and payment certificates.
We provided the response on that particular item.
So the response is with us. Okay, fourth one, submit the departmental procurement plans to the HADO committee for the financial year 2022-23 and 2023-24.
We did, Chair.
And 5, provide information on the current status of the construction of parking bays at Kapsabet Town and details of the contractor awarded. Please indicate with evidence if any payment have been made on the project.
We did submit the response to that question.
Then 6th, record of payment for the construction of the lead screen at Kapsabet Town and procurement document for the same.
Yes, Chair, we did provide the documents.
Okay.
Okay, on this issue, there is an issue that I would like to bring into your attention, Waziri.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
What was the total amount of money tendered for the project? That is the fresh produce market in Kapsabet.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair and honorable members. The total cost of the fresh produce market, we have documents here with us that we wish to submit to this honorable House.
Chair, to just support what Waziri has just indicated, we did send the soft copies of these responses by the deadline, and we have brought the hard copies. These are the documents.
So you will just inform me on the compliance. What was the scope of work? Has it been supplied?
Yes.
When was the tender signed?
It's in the documents. I can refer.
What is the progress of the project?
For which project?
The fresh produce?
Yes, we have.
Chair,
Yes, Honorable Keter.
point of order. I saw document has been submitted, but the question it was how much. You know, for the sake of record, he has to mention the figure. Despite being given for the sake of records.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Keter. Waziri, can you mention to go on record?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. The total cost of the fresh produce market was 92,509,873.20. 92,507,873.20, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. You've also submitted the progress of the project in the documents that you've submitted.
In the response.
And finally, was there any variations of the tender, and what was the variation amount?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. There was a variation in the project, and the variation in the project is 22,970,000 shillings. Yes, 970,940 shillings. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, through the Chair, this is on top of the 92.
Yes, honorable member. That's on top of the 92. Clearly, the chair has asked of a variation. The contract term was 92 million. The variation is 22 million. Thank you.
What was the budget?
This is a project that is funded by the Kenya Urban Support Program. It was not in the main budget. It's a project that is funded by the Kenya Urban Support Program.
What was the budget?
The total budget for this project was this 92 million.
Now, Waziri, when you say it is funded by the Kenya Urban Support Program, and it was not captured in the budget, what actually do you mean?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, when you look at the budget, there is 84 million shillings that was released by the Kenya Urban Support Program. 84 million shillings and in the year 82-83. In the financial year 22-23.
So it is within our budgets.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, possibly to give an eye opener to the Kenya Urban Support Program is that the Kenya Urban Support Program money, once it has hit the CRF, goes to the special purpose account. That special purpose account was held at the Kenya Commercial Bank, that is KCB. The amount that was released was 84 million, that is captured in the budget. And then there were savings in that account from the previous APS, because I know the question that possibly would be raised was why we were spending over and above the budget in the first place. And I have explained by saying there were savings in the account from the previous APS, and therefore that is why we tendered the works at 92 million, but the amount that was in the budget was 84 million. Thank you.
Chair, what was the amount from the savings?
The total amount from the saving, I would still need to do reconciliation, honorable member. I would still need the team to do for me the reconciliation, because after it was, we had in APA 1, the amount that we received in APA 1 was 177 million and some figures. And in that financial year, we tendered works worth 145 million and a variation of 3.8 million. In the second APA, it was 100 and, let me just confirm, in the second APA, the amount was 126, 762, 988. And the works that were tendered was 127 million. Then 84 million, 307, 215 in APA 3.
Through the chair, those abbreviations, what do they mean? And maybe even as you answer also, could you tell us, is this a conditional grant from?
Thank you
For
so
the
much,
record.
honorable chair, honorable members. Kenya Urban Support Program is a conditional grant from the World Bank. APA is annual performance appraisal. APA is annual performance appraisal.
Chair, who authorizes the variation? And who is responsible for accounting?
So much, honorable chair, honorable members. The variation is authorized by an established ad hoc committee. The variation is authorized by an established ad hoc committee. Once a variation arises, it is subjected to a committee.
Where is this, Chair, where is this committee drawn from? Could you briefly tell us the composition of this committee?
Thank you so much, honorable chair, honorable members. The composition of that committee is drawn from the technical officers from that particular unit. In this case, for this variation, it was drawn from the technical officers from that committee, one being one engineer, there was a procurement officer, there was an accountant, so technical officers from that committee.
Is it technical officers from, is it from the county government of Nandi?
Yes, honorable chair, honorable members, it is technical officers in that unit, officers from the county government of Nandi.
Where do you get that powers for the composition of the committee? Is there any legal backing on creation of that special committee? And who gazettes the committee?
Thank you, honorable member. The committee is not gazetted. And I would need to do a lot of referrals here and there. I remind myself that I am under oath, and I don't want to bring myself into lying under oath or appear to talk about something that I may appear to know only for me to appear not to know. So I want to really get measured, honorable chair, in this.
Then are you responsible for the constitution of this committee? Are you the one responsible? And if you are, where do you get these powers to do that?
Honorable chair, honorable members, the function of composition of that committee does not lie with the CCM. It lies with the accounting officer. I am trying to recollect on the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. It's around section 140, I might not have quoted it well, on variations, and it is the accounting officer who appoints this.
For this case, through the chair, who is the accounting officer?
The accounting officer for the entity of the municipality is the municipal manager.
Do we have a substantive municipal manager?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, as it stands now, we don't have a substantive municipal manager. In 2021, the municipal manager was appointed substantively. The municipal manager then was Richard Ngeny. His term ended, and to this end, we don't have a substantive municipal manager.
Okay, through the chair. Okay, you have said that there's a committee who does all this variation. Then who approves? Because everything, it seems as if it is managed within the same department. So who approves all these grants?
Who approves what again, Vice Chair? Sorry.
If there is a request now for variation, and the technical committee that comes up with this variation, so who approves now these conditional grants?
I am not certain, honorable member, if I got you clearly. Because
I think the best format, who approves variations?
I've talked of this variation being approved by a committee.
Does this house have any role?
Yes, honorable chair, honorable members. Sorry if I might have missed on this component. I would say this house has a clear role, especially in this context of this variation, because this was a variation that was captured in the budget that was brought forth before this house.
Honorable Chair,
Honorable
Wasiri is lying to us. He's deviating from what he had said. And I saw him consoling his colleague, CEO, that maybe you have lied before you said you are approving the variation with your committee, which you are forming internally. Kindly, you have lied to us.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, just to make a clarification, is that the question that was put forth was the variation. The next question, if I got it clearly, that has been put forth by the chair, is the approval of, if that variation had the approval of this house. And that is why I talked about the budget that was approved by this house. But then again, I want to make a sincere plea that if in any way, then possibly in saying my words I appear to have lied, then I am ready at any minute to withdraw and apologize, because I don't want to lie on oath.
Okay, maybe Waziri, let me allow the CEO to say something on the same.
Thank you, Chair.
What are the procedures of approving a variation?
Thank you, Chair. As Waziri has indicated, when the contract has been given to a contractor, and the contractor assumes site, for example, and you know he has the BQs for the project, and he does assessment, he'll bring attention to the accounting officer that I think this project, from the time I was awarded, there are some things that I need to bring to your attention that we need to discuss on variation. Let me give an example that if, for example, you are a contractor and you are given a site to construct, and then you realize the site that you are to construct is way much difference that needs more things to be done, you have to bring to the attention of the accounting officer. Then this accounting officer has to form an ad hoc committee, with what Waziri was saying, to look into this issue the contractor has raised on variation. They will discuss, the ad hoc committee will look into and that's why there is an engineer there is a procurement officer, there is all this. They will look into all these items on variations. And once they have done that, they will file their report to the accounting officer, who will make this request through the budget that Waziri has just mentioned to the assembly for approval of that particular variation. Thank you, Chair.
Now, does the PPOA has any role to play?
Thank you, Chair. There is the PPRA. I think you are talking about the PPRA, right? The head of supply chain, in this case, the county government of Nandi, whenever this variation occur, is the person centrally placed to ensure that he communicates to the PPRA if there is need for any approvals of that nature in a procurement process that has been completed. So yes, they have a role to play, and the head of supply chain is the one coordinating on behalf of all the accounting officers.
What does the Procurement Act says about variations?
Thank you, Chair. I cannot quote the exact section, but there is a section that talks about, let me give you an example on variation, that if a contract that has been awarded and a contractor has raised an issue that there has to be variation, there is a set procedure that needs to be done. And one of them includes that formation of that ad hoc committee to look into that variation. But there is a limit to which a variation can be allowed in the Procurement and Disposal Act. I don't have the exact percentage, but it should be between 10 to 15%.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Soom.
Thank you, Chair. I want to ask maybe from the officers, do they have the minutes and recommendations of that ad hoc committee?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I will submit before this House because we have not brought the minutes with us here. But I undertake that I will submit before this House the minutes of that ad hoc committee, Honorable Chair, as it will be guided by you and the honorable members of this ad hoc committee.
Chair, there is something that I
Yes,
really want to ask.
proceed.
Waziri, what is the stage of completion of that market, and at what point will the ad hoc committee inform you that variation is to be done? At what point?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. To start with, that particular project is at 95% completion. It is at 95% completion, Honorable Chair, honorable members. Variation happens in various stages. You know, for example, there is a variation that could be occasioned as a result of...
Honorable Chairman.
Honorable members, allow Waziri to finish, and then I will.
I think he's not answering the question that was asked. And you had ruled that they should stick to the questions. I don't know whether you told them. The question is, at what point was this variation raised? That's all.
Sorry, I heard at what point should a variation be raised, not at one point when it was raised. No.
Okay, for the case of this one, at what point was it raised? At what percent? At which milestone? Maybe you can take us through a little bit of the milestones for this project.
Thank you so much.
How are the certificates to be raised?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. The point of variation initially was raised when the contractor assumed the site. When the contractor assumed site and started excavation, the contractor realized that upon site visit, that place where we did put the market previously, but it had been long, and there were debris that had been dumped there. And when contractor came there and for site visit, he saw the site as being flat. But upon commencement of work and excavation, then the contractor realized that he needed to go deeper in terms of excavation.
So at what point?
That was at the initial point, beginning of excavation. When he started excavation, at the first stage, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members.
So at the first stage, may I ask through the chair, what studies did you undertake now as a county before embarking on this? Did you undertake due diligence as county government? And were there studies done, including AISA and other such studies, preliminaries? Were they done?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, yes, preliminary studies were done. Environmental impact assessment report was done. There was a visibility study that was done for that project. But as I confirm here today, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, was that then excavation of what revealed was that debris had been dumped into that place, which necessitated the contractor to go deeper. And I can confirm, yes, those studies were done.
Chair.
So there was an EIS study?
Yes, environmental impact assessment study was done.
And did it establish the state of the ground? Was that before you developed the BQs or after?
Chair, maybe so that it can answer in conjunction with the honorable member from Olesos. It means, you know, some of us, we have been in such work and we have a bit of experience on that. And what we are trying to say is that was there an engineer to establish and give instruction? Because I know before variation, there must be someone who is giving instruction to establish, because after excavation, you can discover that there is a loose soil that it needs to go further on that. If that's what I wanted to know, if you had an engineer, and if it was there, is it one of the, did you source an engineer or you use the one which is internally for this variation? Because it has to be an instruction before variation. So did you source an engineer or you use internally? Or that engineer is also part of the ATOC?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. So that I don't lose track, the Honorable member from Lesos, Honorable Minor, has asked whether there was, I have confirmed there was an environmental impact assessment that was done. You have asked whether it was before the formulation of the BQ or after. This environmental impact assessment was done before the formulation of the BQ. And I want to just respond to the Honorable member from Kamngetunche Mundu Ward about the question that has been raised about having an engineer on site. And I want to report here because there were two questions that were asked there. Number one was if we used internal capacity or was it an external? We used internal capacity. The engineer that was supervising that project was internal from the county government. And yes, there are engineers' instructions that are given. For instance, the contractor assumes site, wants to progress, but now realizes that he has to go deeper to reach a stable ground for him to start the works. Then there are engineers' instructions that are given by the engineer. Then again, the engineer then reports back to the client. In this case, for this case, it was the municipal manager. Then now the municipal manager is informed on if there is going to be a variation in this particular project occasioned by these happenings. Then now the municipal manager constitutes this team. Thank you.
Maybe in conclusion to that, were there some correspondence between the engineer on site to municipal? Which method were you using? Is it verbal or you used to write down?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. I want to confirm there are correspondences to that effect.
Now, so through the chair, I'm still interested. What are the findings of the EIA? Did they look at the ground? What were the findings? And did it come to your attention? Considering that there is quite a bit of money that was going to be spent.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, it would be a complete lie from me to say that I did get that chance to look at the environmental impact assessment report and the visibility study report. You know, normally this is assignment that we, from time to time, assign to technical persons. You know, for the basic reason that sometimes those, like
so
for
it's okay. I'm happy you didn't see it. I'd like to draw your attention to Section 37 of the Act. I don't know, the Operative Act. Are you aware of it?
The Operative Act?
The Mother Act, the one that guides all of us. I'm referring to the County Government Act.
I am requesting that I be informed, Honorable.
You want to be informed?
Member, please do.
That is on the role of the Executive Committee in urban area or city planning. And there is a subsection there where it reads, first of all, you are supposed to monitor the process of planning, formulation, and adoption of integrated development plan and all that. Assist a city or municipality with the planning, formulation, adoption, and review of these plans. In a nutshell, are you aware that the body in which you sit has got fiduciary responsibility to the people of Nandi on how monies that come to it, and I don't think these are free money, how it is used. So in this regard, how do you feel now that you never cared about how the money was going to be used? Even in question of site election, how do you feel? Yourself and the rest of the team that sits in that committee, how do you feel?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. First of all, before I respond to how I feel, we owe each and every person, as a result of the responsibility bestowed on us, a duty of care. And I don't know, sometimes I get lost with words, because the way in which something can be put is not actually the way it is. Because now the honorable member said you didn't care. And, you know, by the time we have given this, the narration of this project shows an element of care. On this, you know, I have said clearly here, Honorable Chair, honorable members, that sometimes we are informed by technical persons. The technical persons who have a greater understanding of this particular duty. And therefore, to respond just in maybe 10 seconds, how I feel is that, yeah, I feel that there is a burden and a share of responsibility that I must take out of all this. You know, I cannot walk out of it scot-free like nothing happened. I know I have a responsibility on it. Thank you.
You are done?
Well, I would like to know, this when you signed the contract, did you sign it together with the variation?
No, when the contract was signed, it was not with the variation.
Can you show us the contract?
My chief officer here informs me that it is part of the documents that have
Just
been
whatever you
submitted.
have there, just show us the contract.
Please give me a minute to find kindly.
Yeah, can you read to us paragraph 4 of that contract? So as you find it, which company won the tender?
Was won by Miliki Development Company Limited. Miliki Development Company Limited.
Very well. I think, Honorable Chair, it would be nice to have the beneficial owners of this company shared. So are you looking at the contract now?
Chair. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Bridget.
I just want to ask CC, who is the director of Miliki? Who is the director of Miliki?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I don't know the director of Miliki Development Company Limited. Looking at the...
One moment, through the chair. Normally, the application process for any tender includes a CR12, if I'm not right, if I'm not wrong.
But then again, possibly the person who could be in a position to respond to that is the accounting officer.
In this case?
Yeah, let the accounting officer answer the question. Who is the director of Miliki?
Thank you, Chair. Let me make some clarifications. On this particular point on fresh produce, the accounting officer, as was indicated by Waziri, was the municipal manager. I was given the position of accounting officer for the Department of Administration, Public Service, and ICT. As at the time of this project, municipality is an independent entity with its own accounting officer, and they submit their own independent budgets to this house. So I have limited knowledge on this particular project, Chair.
Honorable Chair, thank you so much. Honorable Chair, again, with the limited knowledge that I know is that part of the preliminary evaluation documents that are submitted during the process of evaluation is the CR12 that the honorable member of Lesos has referred to. Then again, I want to give an undertaking to submit that particular document before this house. Now that the accounting officer for the department, that is Jonathan Misoi, has said that he has limited knowledge on this project, and we had the accounting officer who was a municipal manager, let me commit as the CCM to submit that particular document, which is the CR12, which shows the director.
Chair, we have so much interest on this, Chair. You know, it happens that this is a contractor that did mother and baby, Nicotex, dairy, avocado, and now the market. It raises a lot of concern as to why this only single company is winning huge tenders. And on these said projects, a number of variations has been done, particularly on these projects, Chair.
So now, is it your evidence that you have limited knowledge about the goings on at the municipality?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I have not said that I have limited knowledge, unless if here we, to mean the CC and the CEO, because it is the CEO that has admitted on having limited knowledge on this
I'm
project.
referring to you, CC.
I have said...
How much knowledge do you have regarding the municipality?
I have
and its
sufficient
running?
knowledge regarding the happenings in the municipality.
So the answer that you gave earlier on about limited is not right?
Let me try to recollect what
anyway,
I
I'm
said.
happy with that. I'm happy with that. Could you tell us right now, who is the person running the municipality?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, as you are aware,
Who?
I'm getting there, honorable member. Kindly, I am getting there.
Let me give guidance, Waziri. Strictly confine yourselves to the questions. Those questions that have a direct answer, please, just answer so that we save on time. So the question has been put, who is currently, the question is?
Who is the officer running the municipality? The one that you referred. What did you call him, chief officer? Call her or him?
The officer that Waziri referred earlier, the municipality manager, whose contract ended, was Richard Ngeny.
I mean, currently.
Currently, with my knowledge, is that there is nobody acting or working as a municipal manager, because the person who was there was affected by the process that on the revocation of letters, who was acting. Maybe Waziri can clarify on that.
Donald Pratt, Chair, was Lorraine in the list of, there's a common term nowadays you guys use, affected list. Was she in the list?
Honorable members, honorable Chair, yes, I confirm, Lorraine Cherono was in the list.
Is she working now?
Lorraine Cherono is not working now.
Are you sure that she's not on duty?
Lorraine Cherono is not on duty.
Thank you.
So who is on duty?
As it stands now, out of this process, and that is what I wanted to explain when I was reminded by the chair that there is no stories, is that as it stands now, there is no person because of this exercise that happened, which affected the officer who was there.
So maybe explain to this committee a little bit. And I had actually wanted, Honorable Chairman, that this CC explains to us a little bit when you asked him to introduce, so that he can tell us his roles, including maybe having come with a payroll manager, chairman, I don't know. So what was it that affected the supposedly acting municipal manager? What affected her?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, there is an exercise of revocation of letters that was done by the board. And one of those officers whose letters was revoked is one Lorraine Cherono, who was acting as the municipal manager.
So what was the problem? That's what I want.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the board revoked the letters of staff on account of Section 75 of the County Governments Act, citing that it came to their attention that irregularities marred the recruitment process.
The lady you are talking about had been appointed as acting municipal manager, a very senior position. What was the irregularity affecting her particularly? Have you ever tried to find out?
The affected officers in that list
I'm talking about Lorraine.
is 1899. I have not delved into individual list of affected officers, Lorraine Cherono included.
But she has an appointment letter to act as a municipal manager. Is there such a letter?
Yes, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members.
Signed by who? Can we have that letter?
Again, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, this did not form part of the initial list of documents that we were asked to supply, and I will supply the letter of Lorraine Cherono was signed by the county secretary.
A final question on this issue, Honorable Chairman. Was she involved in any way with the execution of this tender and any other? And I would like to still remind you that we were looking for the contract. I hope you found it. I'd like for you to read for us some of the paragraphs. Was she involved at any point? Is there anything that she has signed on behalf of the county government with regards to some of these mega tenders?
To the best of my knowledge, on this one again, I would need to confirm is that Lorraine has not signed in relation to this tender because there was a substantive municipal manager. So I would still need to know the happenings that have happened within this period that she was acting, but none that I know has been signed by her, and in relation to these other mega tenders as well.
In the tender, the contract.
Sorry, looking at the documents that I have here, it is the addendum of extension of contract. I have not found in this document the main contract.
So what does it say, that addendum? Do you have paragraph 4?
I hope it is the right thing that I want to read here, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, if it is not, kindly redirect me so that we save time.
Proceed to read.
The procuring entity hereby covenants to pay a consideration of the execution and completion of the works and the remedying of defects therein, the initial contract sum of 95,507,873.20, an additional of 22,970,940, being variation approved by the client, bringing the total cost sum to 115,480,835.75, an increase of 24.84%, or such other sum as may become payable under the provisions of the contract at the times and in the manner prescribed by the contract.
What point was this signed? Is that the contract? Do you agree with me that that's the contract?
Like I've said, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members,
or it is an addendum, as you
this
say?
is an addendum.
So where is the original contract?
That is what I have requested, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, to submit.
So you did not submit the original contract?
Looking at these documents that I have as a copy, I did not submit, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members.
Waziri, there is a, can you please make us to understand? The earlier figures that you gave was 92,507,073. in the addendum, you are now reading 95 million. So can you please, can you give us the, what are the figures in the addendum?
Honorable Chair, I have read the figure in the addendum. I can start with therein the initial contract sum of Kenya shillings 92,507,873.20. And in my earlier statement, I read 92,507,873.20.
So those are the same figures in the addendum.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
And the variations? What are the figures for variations?
The figures for variation is 22,970,940 shillings 0.55.
Can you please hand over this addendum to us? The Sergeant at Arms, please, can you give us that addendum?
Chair, maybe I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, the CEO told us that the committee which considers variation, they are allowed by law to vary up to 15%. But from the addendum, it is around 24.8%.
Let me make it clear. The CEO said that he was not certain of the figures he gave in between, but I just want to confirm here now that variation for works is 25%. Variation for works, you can go up to 25%.
So will I be correct maybe to presume that what determines the variation, for example? What determines that maybe the level of variation? Because if I can see, the variation was made to 24.8. Was this maybe kind of structured in a way? Why not around maybe 19, 17%? Why leave just 2%?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Variation, once it has arisen, has to be subjected to the committee that I talked about. There is the position of law that it can't go beyond this 25%. So then again, if the variation or what is wanting to be termed as a variation, someone wants to talk about a figure which when computed goes beyond the 25%, then that cannot be a variation. Either it can be a phase 2 of works, but it can't be a variation. So again, I have seen this 24.84. We need to look at the merits of what was presented, summing into that variation before we say then it was forced to fit within the 25%, Honorable Member.
So from your point of view, could there be a collision to maximize variation? Because if you can see 0.2% is just left. Could the works be that serious that it warrant around the utilization of the variation to maximum? Because just leaving 0.2% means there was some goodwill or some kind of compromise, maybe, or what's the law? What does the law say about it? Must the variation be maximized?
Now, first, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, the variation must not be maximized. In my understanding of it, the variation as a ceiling, it cannot go beyond 25%, but it doesn't talk of it not coming below 25%, but it can't go beyond because that is the ceiling, that is the threshold that has been set for variation of works. So I don't want to say again in your earlier question that there was an element of maybe collusion to attain that 25%. I want to look at it as 24.84 as it is until we look at the merits of the contents that necessitated the variation. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Waziri,
kindly furnish this committee. When was Mr. Ngeny employed or appointed, and what was his term limit?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Richard Ngeny was employed as a municipal manager in 2021. I can't tell the exact date. He was employed in 2021, and his term is a contract of 3 years, as guided by the municipal charter.
Has that time elapsed?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, yes, I confirm that time has lapsed.
And maybe on that issue again, has he done handing over, taking over to the acting or whoever was acting?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, again, I would need to confirm that.
Honorable Chairman,
Yes.
just so that we can, I don't know if you are still with this market, have you made payments to this project?
Yes, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, we have made payments to this project.
How much has been paid so far?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, we have honored interim payment certificates. The interim payment certificates that we have honored amounts to 92 million.
So the initial budgeted sum have been paid.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you.
Was Doreen involved in the authorization of any payment?
No, Honorable Member.
You can refer to the chair. Who authorized?
This particular payment.
Who raised when was the last payment, for instance?
All these payments happened when Richard Ngeny was still the municipal manager.
So by the time he left, you had already paid 92 million.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Okay.
Chair, was there any team within this ad hoc committee that made a visit to this market? Under flagship, was it there? Because I would wish actually to see the status of this market now that the entire amount has been paid, the initial amount has been paid.
The ICT team, do we have photographs of the fresh produce market?
Honorable Chairs, the ICT team are trying to locate that. May I ask Waziri, is there any tendering process for bush clearing within the municipality? And if yes, who won that tender?
A tendering process for bush clearing?
Bush clearing or grass clearing within the municipality?
To the best of my knowledge, there is no tender unless if the chief officer is aware.
Maybe you can confirm.
Chair, I'm not aware.
Thank you, Chair.
Meanwhile, Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Honorable Tadbe.
To the CC, was the variation maybe challenging in a way? Like if a variation is raised, I think as a department you are allowed to challenge or question.
Chair, I think you give direction on this. You see the said project, I think we had put lump sum with the with the flagship project, among the flagship, because we were to visit to establish more. Maybe you give us a guideline over the same.
And Chair, there were some issues in public that that Richard Ngeny.
Okay, honorable members, let me first give guidance. Because we've started the interrogation on the same project, it is prudent that we accomplish.
Yes.
I have asked a question whether the department challenged the variation or they just accepted it like that. Was it challenged in any way or appealed or something?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the initial variation that was requested by the contractor upon assessment of the works done, the total cost of variation was coming to a figure of 37 million and something, 37 million and something. Then again, in these 37 million and something, we did refuse and said that clearly, even as you look at the variation and as you look at the figures of 37 million, we are also bound by the law. And number two, we need to undertake joint measurements to ascertain the quantities that you
Honorable
are talking.
members, please, can you consult in low tones, please?
We need to ascertain the quantities that the contractor is talking about. And indeed, the then municipal manager did set up a team, again, that looked at the joint measurements to look at the quantities that were raised by the contractor. Looking at the joint measurements, then it was ascertained that the figure was coming down, but again, that figure was coming down to 27 million. But then again, there were quantities that the contractor was saying that it would affect him adversely. Him in this context is the person who was representing the contractor, who was a quantity surveyor. It will affect the contractor in the context that there were quantities that had been buried down, which when we tell them now that we need to do a joint measurement and account for these quantities, then they were not able to account for those quantities. And then the decision was made by that committee to remove those quantities, those which were not able to be accounted by the contractor on account of saying they had buried them down and that they cannot be accounted for. And that
Maybe
is
on
what
that
brought
note,
the figure down.
On that note, Chair, when the CC is talking of quantities that were buried down, as the contractor undertakes maybe his works, don't we have maybe our, like the county person or county engineer who monitors the progress?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, we have a project manager and a project engineer as this work is undertaken. The purpose of the joint measurement, honorable Chair, is to reconcile the materials that are coming from the engineer side and the materials that are coming from our side. To this end, when there is a dispute, that the contractor is saying, I used amount X, and our team is saying the amount that was used is amount Y. There are items that can easily be counted and quantified. But these other items are the items that contractor is saying, I used this much, but then again, our people say they use this much, but it cannot be accounted for on account of their saying it has been buried. That's why the decision was made that then again, you need to remove this amount that you are contesting on account that it cannot be done, a joint measurement cannot be subjected to it.
Chair,
proceed.
There's something that I want to get from Mwasiri. Was this variation done after Ngeny had left or before? Former municipal manager.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the variation was brought forth when Ngeny was still the municipal manager. This issue over even the committee that was set to deliberate on this variation are discussed. The joint measurements was done when Ngeny was still there in the office. And there was one element of the report. There was one element of the report that the acting municipal manager then was affected by this process, mentioned that there was an element of the report that as at the time Ngeny left, Ngeny had not signed that report.
Chair, as a result of that CC, you've mentioned something, signed the report. There was some information that Ngeny was removed from that position because he refused to append signature on the variation. What do you have to say about that?
Honorable Chair.
And who signed after Ngeny had refused to sign?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I want to confirm here and now that Ngeny was not removed from office. Ngeny's contract expired. It lapsed. Ngeny's contract lapsed.
For clarity, Waziri, now Mheshimiwa has just asked that there was an item that was raised by Lorraine, that there was a report that was not signed by Ngeny. So who signed the report that was supposed to be signed by Ngeny?
In addition, Chair, maybe I would also add, the trend of this government is to extend people's contracts. Why wasn't Ngeny's contract extended equally?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, there are two questions that have been raised. One is on the report and who signed the report. That one I still need to look into. I'm not clear in my mind on it. Number two, there is a question that has been raised on the trend of the government extending the contracts and why in this case the municipal manager's contract was not extended. And I would reply to that or respond to it in absolute honesty by saying that I don't know why the municipal manager's contract was not extended.
Honorable Chair, can the CCM supply us with a copy of that contract? Do you know the exact date it was supposed to expire?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I will supply you with a copy.
You seem to know exactly what was the date of lapsing?
I don't know the date of lapsing, and I thought that it doesn't appear like...
you said it lapsed.
Yes, it lapsed.
So how did you know that?
Ngeny himself, while the contract was...
I mean, how did you know, Waziri?
Ngeny informed me.
That it has lapsed?
Ngeny informed me, yes. But I don't know
so if he didn't inform you, you wouldn't have known?
Because I knew the contract was 3 years. That I knew.
I'm curious also, Chairman, I'm looking at this contract. Miso Jonathan, is that you?
Chair.
When did you say you assumed the role of being CEO administration?
Thank you, Chair.
Maybe Chair, through the Chair, kindly let Miso hold that question. For your information, Waziri, Mr. Ngeny was employed September 2022, plus 3-year contract. How many years? When is he supposed to exit?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I want to confirm here now that it is, I have heard you talking about accuracy of facts.
If the member has talked about Ngeny being appointed on September 2022, that is inaccurate. If I heard the member correctly, that is inaccurate. And I would say, I would go as far as saying it is inaccurate using my own account. I wouldn't have been appointed as the deputy municipal manager and at the same time having been appointed as the CCM in charge of administration. We were appointed on the same day with Richard Ngeny. And I can confirm that I was not appointed on September 2022. So that is inaccurate.
So you promised to deliver the contract for Mr. Ngeny?
I promise to deliver a copy of the appointment letter of Richard Ngeny.
So this question, you had mentioned that you really do not have a lot of ideas about the municipality, but I can see here you are the one who signed. Why is it that the officer in charge did not sign?
Thank you,
you
Chair.
even said that they are autonomous.
Thank you, Chair. Just to, the honorable member had asked me when did I assume the role of accounting officer for the Department of Administration, Public Service and ICT. I can confirm now. You remember my first appearance here, Chair, I informed the House that I was given the authorized letter by the County Public Service Board for Administration, Public Service and ICT in March 6th of this year. I was given the accounting officer, and I have supplied the documents to that effect, as the accounting officer by the CCM in charge of finance and economic planning to be the accounting officer for Administration, Public Service and ICT in July 29th. And Chair, those are the two roles, the accounting and authorized. And Chair, you remember when I came here, I told you that those are the two items that I had been given. So talking on the accounting.
Just a moment.
Yes.
Now that you are delving to that, the question of your appointment.
Yes. Thank you, Chair.
Just hold on.
Yes.
So how you are appointed pursuant to what part of the law?
Thank you, Chair. I need to confirm the section of the law on appointment.
Chair, and as he confirms, he should also confirm to this House, for how long is he going to act apart from the 6 months that I see in the renewal letter? What does the law say about actingship? Does it have a limit?
Maybe they will extend for the 5 years. Which section of the law?
Thank you, Chair. My appointment was pursuant to Section 64 of the County Government Act of 2012. And Chair, when I have submitted all the documents for those appointments.
Please, so you're saying it is pursuant to?
Section 64. That is, I'm reading actually my appointment because it's quoted directly, expressly.
So what does Section 64 say?
It vests the powers to the appointing authority to go ahead.
Is that what it says?
Yes.
Have you?
I'm reading, Chair, what is written.
I mean, Section 64 of the Act. Have you familiarized yourself with it?
I know it gives the powers to the appointing authority to do acting appointments. And that's what has been quoted here, which I'm about to read, Chair, if you allow me.
Don't read that one. I would like you to read the 64. Do you have the Act?
No, I don't have the Act.
Have you ever read it?
Honorable Chair, this is the Act where I wanted to read. Act 64, 1. It says a person shall not appointed to hold a public office in acting capacity unless the person satisfies all the prescribed qualifications for holding that public office. Second, acting appointments shall be made only by the lawful appointing authority and for a specified period. So the period of you being for 3 times, which has been ruled for 3 times, is that a specified period? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That is a specified period because it clearly indicates for 6 months. That's a specified period given to the appointing authority to do that appointment. And on the qualifications, because I am a substantive chief officer, ICT and e-government, it means when I appeared for the interview for that position as a chief officer, I qualified, I was vetted by this assembly, and finally appointed to be a substantive chief officer, ICT and e-government. It's meant, therefore, that the appointing authority, if he sees fit, that he appoints me to any acting capacity along the qualification of a chief officer, and I think that's why he went ahead to appoint me to act in that position.
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Because I was still speaking, he's speaking a lot. Is there any other section that is mentioned? Because I cannot see there where it says how the procedure for appointment. In your letter, is there any other section that is quoted?
Yes, in my letter, the other section that has been quoted is section 45 of the County Governments Act.
Can you read that one for us? And maybe if that can be projected. The ICT, you projected the other section. Can you project this section for everybody to see?
Honorable Chair, I had not finished the question. He was still answering. So I wanted to ask him, now you are acting capacity, the 3rd time is almost elapsing. So are you still entitled to be enrolled for the 4th time? Because it is specified here for a specified period.
Thank you, Chair. On whether I will be appointed again after this period lapses, the 3rd one, squarely lies with the appointing authority, but on the qualification, I still qualifies to be appointed to act.
I wish for us to put the issue to rest. Do you have that section? Have you looked at section 45?
Chair, I don't have the act with me.
Okay. Can you see that?
Chair, I can read appointment of county chief officers. So number 1, the governor shall, A, nominate qualified and experienced county chief officers from among persons competitively sourced and recommended by the County Public Service Board, and B, with the approval of the county assembly, appoint county chief officers.
Actually, I think that's an older version. There is a newer version which reads this way, that whenever a vacancy arises in the office of a county chief officer, the respective governor shall within 14 days, I want you to note that, 14 days, nominate a qualified and experienced county chief, qualified and experienced county chief officers from among persons competitively sourced and recommended by the County Public Service Board, and with the approval of the County Assembly, appoint chief officers. To the best of your knowledge, from hearing this, do you still believe that your appointment is regular?
Thank you, Chair. There are 2 points there. Number 1 is what is the honorable member is talking about is appointment on substantive of chief officers. He has clearly indicated what needs to be done by the governor, sourcing, appointing a chief officer from those people who have been sourced competitively by the County Public Service Board with experience and the qualifications, and then to go ahead and appoint. But on the acting position, I don't think there is anywhere that suggests that when when I was appointed now, I don't think there is a place in law that states that that name needs to be submitted to assembly for vetting.
Bwana CEO, let me put this issue to rest by posing a question. Do you admit that there is a vacancy in that post?
I do admit, and that's why
So
I'm
do
on
you
acting
agree
capacity.
with the act?
You're saying?
Do you agree that there is contravention of the act?
Contravention on the act?
I'm asking you very direct question. You've been read the act.
Yes.
And it clearly says that the governor shall, within 14 days. Do you agree that there is a vacancy in that department?
There is.
So do you agree that there is a contravention of the law?
For now that I'm acting...
The question is, yes or no?
There is a vacancy, that is yes.
There is,
And then number two, the appointing authority should have appointed the chief officer within the 14 days that you've talked about.
So do you agree that there is a contravention of the law?
I don't
The question
interpret...
is yes or no, according to what you've been read.
Yes.
Thank you. Honorable Mosby.
I hope, Chair, you're allowing me to move away from what you are delving into. And my question goes to the CEO about the human resource management system that costed 24 million. Is it still in use as we speak through the chair?
Thank you, Chair. Let me bring to this House the context of what the honourable member has raised on that system that is just mentioned is actually the Health Management Information System, which has a module for HR management, budgeted for and executed in the Department of Health and Finance then, because this was 2017-18, just before we arrived at the county. And it was, it was procured and budgeted for in finance to be used in health department. So what I want to say about that is that system we rolled out when we came in 2018 from somewhere May of that year. We rolled out in the health department, specifically Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. And that system has been in use for that period until we came to this term where health department has chosen to use another system by the name MedBoss. However, that system is there and they are planning to use it for other facilities across the county.
What about, there is the lingering issue of the ghost workers. And at one point we had the biometric system. Would it be possible to deploy that? And also there is the theft of fuels, particularly in the roads department, where the poor MCA has to follow up and down the machinery to ensure that fuel is not stolen. And yet we had county fleet management system. Are those two still working?
Thank you, Chair. The two systems are available, but on the usage, the two departments, as I've mentioned for health, they chosen to use MedBoss and to use HMIS for other facilities. And for the roads department, just to also inform the member, is that the system for fleet management was again budgeted in roads and executed for that department to be used. And also to give further context to that is that the role of ICT in any system procurement is that the user department will say we need to automate a particular sector. Our role is just to give the specifications and they go ahead to procure the system. Roads went ahead to procure the system. We installed 29 trucks with trackers and the system was working well. At some point, the roads department could not be able to continue, topping up the Safaricom lines on the trackers. And when you don't top up the Safaricom lines on the trackers, it means the tracking of those fleets will no longer be in use. And at some point, they were not able to continue to use the system. But the system is available. We are hosting it in our online platform. It is for the roads department to continue using the system.
Chair. Maybe Honorable Keter, allow Honorable Mosby to wind up so that you take over.
Now, listening to you, we are still going back because this is our mandate, value for money. What do you think, Jonathan, when you see such investment just not being deployed?
That's a sad situation of affairs. In fact, I remember in those years when the fleet was working and when the time came that they were not still using to top up the airtimes, I in fact wrote a memo to the roads department informing them that you need to ensure that you budget for airtime for the truckers in the trucks, to ensure that we monitor the trucks, and we monitor the fuel. So it's in my best interest to ensure that we have value for money. Let me give you another example. The finance department budgeted
Now, let me interject.
Chair.
And to be very precise, is there value for money?
As indicated, for now, there is no value for money because it's not being executed.
Thank you. Proceed.
Yeah, in fact,
there was
I
another
think,
question that I did not finish answering.
What was the question, Honorable
on
Mosbey?
ghost workers and the HR biometrics. Yes, remember I talked about the health management information system we deployed, which was budgeted in finance and deployed in health as a user department. It had a module for human resource management that, for health management system, the users for that system will be the doctors, the nurses, the entire group in the health department. It meant there has to be a module for HR management in that system. And in fact, in 2019, I championed the fact that we needed to ensure that biometric registration of staff was to be done. And I pushed that idea that let's register our staff, and especially now with health, because the system belongs to health, so that we can be managing the access to the county, the Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. And that could have been very effective. But the support was not there. And remember, any system to be used, it is the user department to ensure that they rally their staff to use the system. A good example is the revenue system, which is doing very well currently. The finance department and ensure that they rally the staff within finance to use the system, and we can track daily revenue collections using that system. So it's about the user department to rally their staff to give executive orders that going forward we have to use the system. And that was my intention then, that we needed to roll out biometric registration. I tried, but we could not go through, so that process stopped.
Chair, Honorable Chair. Now, from the presentation of the chief officer here is that now he has just admitted that there is no value of money, especially in hospital. The one you bought a machine which costed 24 million. Thereafter, you approve that they pack that machine and go for another one. I don't know what is the process before they upgrade it. Was it upgrading, or they have just decided that this is an old chunk, let it be in this corner, and we go for another one? I mean,
thank you, Chair.
And you expound that.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The health department did not upgrade; they replaced, not upgrading. Just to give you some statistics, when we rolled out the HMIS, the revenue in Kapsabet Referral Hospital shot to over 8 million per month. The reports are there, the system worked, and it was very good in ensuring that we collect money to support the health department. It's just that recently is when they have decided that they are going to roll Medbos and use HMIS to roll out for other facilities. So they are still having those discussions, and we are yet to see how far we go with the discussion.
So in this case, so that I end up, so in this case, are you also regretting that with them that they are no longer using that machine?
As an ICT champion in the county, yes, I have pushed, I wrote memos to health that let's rally and ensure that we support the system to ensure that we automate processes. So, of course, Honorable Member,
have you communicated up to this time? Do you have the correspondence showing that you have?
I have correspondences to health department pursuing them that they use the system.
Okay. Bwana CEO, let me bring up an issue. You've said when the HMI system was installed, revenue shoot up to 8 million
Month.
per month.
Those were the reports which could be generated in the system when we are rolling the system in 2019.
Now, will I be wrong to say that it might be a deliberate measure to make sure that that system doesn't work?
That is your view, Chair. That can be true.
Thank you. Proceed, Honorable Bridget.
Okay, my question to CEO is, which criteria or merit did you use to delete staff from payroll and left those who are employed in the year 2019, 2020, 2024, and no interview were done?
Thank you, Chair. This is the point that Waziri raised, that there were revocation of letters done by the board. And when the board, in its own motion, does an action, they communicate to the executive through the county secretary of actions that the executive needs to take. And they communicated to the county secretary, which was forwarded to us, that there is an action that we need to ensure that the payroll team acts at the payroll system. So there was, it's not us to do the criteria, Chair, Honorable Chair, because she has asked which criteria. For us, as administrative action we take in the department, it's not for us to choose the criteria. We just receive the communication from the board through the CS that these are the actions that needed to be done. With that is what we execute. We don't have a role to create another criteria. We are given a list that this is what you need to do because that is their mandate under Section 75, and they did the revocation. So we went ahead to execute what we received through the CS to their department.
My last question, CEO. Since you are given an acting CEO of administration, I've seen that you have an authority to sign for the deployment letters, right? My question is, why did you left an officer called Macau while you transfer others? Do you have any personal interest?
Thank you, Chair. The said staff who you mentioned, Macau, was not left, quote unquote, that we decided to leave him. It's because there is an ongoing miscellaneous court case that is, I think, in Kapsabet here, that all the people who are the payroll, all their records need to remain in the system because of that ongoing case. So all of them, the 4 staff at the payroll, all their details are still there because the courts require that those records remain there until the case is completed.
Be a question, Chair. What do you think would have informed the County Public Service Board to take the action which they took?
Thank you, Chair. From the communication we received through the CS, the board giving a list of staff that needs to be deleted at the payroll is that through their own motion and the fact that it came to their attention that there were irregular letters, they took that action and they submitted the names for us to delete. And just to add is that the County Public Service Board, who at that time had been working in conjunction with a PSC team who are doing audits, probably that is where the Public Service Board got to be, that word, it came to our attention. Maybe that's when they started to do their own investigations and they arrived at the decision they arrived, which was submitted to us.
Chair, maybe in conjunction with what Honorable Tarbe is asking. So in this case, you are given the names to be deleted, or they just say here from this date to this date? Were you given, according to the instruction from the board, were you given some names to be deleted or the years?
Thank you, Chair. We were given the list of 1899 names to delete.
So, Chair, my question is, from the CEO is saying part of the information which informed the public service was the PSC report. Is that true?
I said, Chair, that could be one of, because I'm aware that the PSC team were doing audits at the county, that could be part of what the County Public Service Board used. I'm not giving a definitive fact that that's what they used. But what I'm saying is that PSC were here, they were doing audits for a number of months, and probably it is from that the board, one of the ways probably could be that, the report that they used with their own investigations.
Maybe from the two of you, do you believe in this report, the PSC report? Do you think it was credible?
The PSC report?
Yeah.
The report was launched on 15th of August. As to its credibility or not, that is, again, a matter that's now within the courts in Eldoret. That, in fact, one of the things that is active in court is that there is a contention for the fact that the PSC should not actually be auditing. There's that contention. So I don't want to give my personal opinion on whether the report is credible or not because of that point alone.
Maybe another question. Both of you are in the technical committee. And from the PSC report, you submitted around 38% of the information which was required.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. The second question that has been asked is both myself and the Chief Officer being members of the steering committee on that particular audit exercise by the PSC. And that source documents that were submitted for use by the PSC team as is around 38%, the source documents that they used. Honorable Chair, honorable members, this was an audit exercise that was meant towards, amongst other things, show us the gaps that we have. So then again, it would have defeated the main purpose of this audit if we were to be so prescriptive in making sure that every other thing that is needed must be provided for. One of the things was to identify, for example, the gaps in the records that we have. So, for example, they have gone to the Public Service Board. We have shown them the Public Service Board. Our role was facilitative in nature. We have shown them. But again, it is not within us now to insist to the Public Service Board to give them these source documents. And I'm not saying they were the only ones to give the source documents, but amongst other things that they were to use, these source documents, we wanted to know the exact gaps. I had a privilege yesterday of listening, or possibly today, of listening to one member here. And I don't know, Chair, because I don't know the standing of orders of the House, if I'm allowed to quote a member and what a member said. That we are to, when the purpose of this, even this investigation here, is to help us be better. The purpose of that audit was to help us also be wholesomely better. Then had we been too prescriptive as a committee, again, being part of the county government, we would have interfered with one way or the other with the audit process. And that is why they missed some of those source documents. They reported it at 38%. And from where we sit, one of the things that has come out clearly is the urgent need for records keeping to inform the decisions of us improving going forward. Thank you.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Bet.
There is an asset that belongs to this government that I want to confirm from Wasiri, the location of that vehicle, 29 CG 003. Waziri, it was used by former County Secretary Mr. Ominde. Where is that vehicle currently?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. 29 CG is a saloon vehicle that, as you rightly put it, was attached to the office of the County Secretary before. I had the privilege of using that vehicle in 2018 around July as well. And this vehicle was being used by the sub-county administrator for Masop, who is now on interdiction. This officer, being on interdiction, has had the information or has been communicated to on the need to return this vehicle. As at last week, the asset management team under someone by the name Toom were working on getting this vehicle on the account of this officer being on interdiction. As at Wednesday, on a phone call to the said officer by myself, he told me that the car is in this garage in Kipsebu. The name is escaping my mind. Karlel Garage. I did send a team from the asset management to go and ascertain if that car was in Karlel. But that car was not in Karlel.
That that car now carries private registration number. Was there any transfer of that ownership? Was there any transfer of ownership? And before you respond, could the ICT
Can the ICT department project that vehicle properly?
The project, Honorable Chair, can it be clarified? Is the CEC claiming that it was allocated to who? Could you be very categorical?
The car was being used by the sub-county administrator for Masop.
Mr. Tor, right?
Charles Tor.
Have you look at the registration? That KBJ 731. That is the registration that vehicle carries now. Who authorized the transfer?
And before you proceed, Waziri, when was this officer interdicted?
I would say it is close to, it was around September, the early parts of September was when the officer was served with interdiction by the county secretary.
Through the chair, Waziri, what are the interdiction process? Before you serve one with the letter of interdiction, there are some due process that the office has to do before serving one with an interdiction letter. Because serving one with an interdiction letter, and then the same person is still in possession of the public asset, anything can happen. Because interdiction letters are not just served anyhow. There is a procedure.
Chair, Madam Chair, through Chair, I wanted to also inquire from Waziri, what special, why was this officer being given that car while others are using their own vehicles? What was so special about the officer so that it can be given that vehicle?
So that he can answer together, Chairman. Was he self-driving or there was a county driver?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I am not so certain that I have mastered all the questions, but I beg to be reminded if I leave any. There is a question of the consideration that was made so that this officer uses this particular vehicle.
Chair, the first question is, can you confirm the ownership? That was the first question before you respond on why that specific officer was attached to that vehicle.
the ownership of this vehicle belongs to the county government of Nandi. I have asked of this number plate KBJ 731U, and I'm being informed that this was a vehicle that was being used by the county clerk before under that registration. Honorable Chair, honorable members.
Which county clerk?
I have no rather briefly now of asking which county clerk. That is the information that came to me, that it was being used by the
Have you searched that number plate, Waziri?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, have not searched for this number plate of KBJ 731.
So you can now confirm that you have no idea on where that vehicle is as we speak?
I can confirm that I have an idea of, I've told you of the process, as that today at around 1:08, this very same vehicle was driven to the office of the sub-county administrator for Nandi Hills. And when that vehicle was driven to that to the parking yard in the office of the sub-county administrator, Nandi Hills, I still had the privilege of calling that very same officer. In fact, we were within the premises of the county assembly, and the officer insisted again on the lie that the car is in the garage. Then the officer informed me again that he had given the car key to the mechanic and left the key. But the asset team went to that particular place, but again, the car key that was handed over is not the car key to this car. Then at that point, I informed the asset team that they can tow that car to the county headquarters. So again, it would be wrong on my part if I admit that I don't know the whereabouts of that car when I've had a discussion about it. Thank you.
Where is that vehicle as we talk now?
As we entered here, a few minutes, let's say an hour before we entered here, the car was still with the office of sub-county administrator in Nandi.
Now, Waziri, when did it came to your attention that this vehicle was not available?
This matter came to my attention, not even being brought to my attention. When there was that vote that was being made in this house to go the ad hoc or the committee way, there was a vote. I met Charles Storr with that car. So that was the day.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Our questions.
Let me still ask the CC. Who driven the vehicle from Masop to Nandi Hills? And who is this officer whom you talked to him to bring or to drive the vehicle to the office? And who was the one handed you the key for the vehicle?
The officer I've said is one Charles Storr, the sub-county administrator. This is the officer that, in my own presumption, drove the car from to the sub-county office.
So is the one who was with the car?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Thank you.
Now, the question here, Waziri, that has been asked by Honorable Maina. Was this vehicle assigned an official driver?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, this is what I would need again to confirm. I have seen Charles driving this car self-drive. I have not seen it being driven by a driver.
Now, this vehicle is under which department?
As you heard before, this vehicle was under the office of the county secretary.
And the specific department? It is under administration?
The officer that is using is under the Department of Administration.
Now, Waziri, let me, are you conversant with the Public Officer Ethics Act?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, I'm conversant with Article 10 and Article 232.
What about 15, Section 1?
I beg to be informed, Honorable Chair.
A public officer shall take all reasonable steps to ensure that property that is entrusted to his care is adequately protected and not misused or misappropriated. Waziri, do you agree with me that there is contravention of this section of the law?
I want to agree, Honorable Chair.
Let us proceed.
My question, Chair, is the CC, maybe from the CC, are sub-county administrators, maybe according to this SRC, entitled for to be assigned a vehicle?
According to SRC, sub-county administrators, I want to believe, I don't want to say I am fully aware, I want to believe are entitled.
To an official vehicle?
Let me say, I need to confirm that, Honorable Member. Biggest disservice.
Honorable Mosby.
Yes, I know now that Waziri has said that the alleged officer is on disciplinary, is on a disciplinary measure, and he has mentioned September. I know the matters of disciplinary cases should be handled within 6 months. They should be resolved within 6 months. As a matter of fact, what we should be talking about is whether he has the vehicle legally or not. Otherwise, mentioning that he has been on interdiction from September, I thought the matter should have been settled. And since he is under you, why is it that that matter has not been resolved?
Honorable Chair, honorable members.
Maybe, honorable members, before you respond, Waziri, I need to give guidance that the issue on that vehicle, let us just rest that issue. Yes. Let us go to another item.
But before we do that, Honorable Chair, not even on the vehicle now, let's go to the public service aspect. Because this is very grave. I'm curious to know.
Chair, I would seek that
yes,
you go by your ruling, because let us not prosecute such a matter as you've ruled. I think it's better rested that.
Yeah, and I think, Honorable Maina, you understand.
I wasn't going to talk about the vehicle. All I wanted to ask was,
yes,
because, you know, Honorable Chair, we are talking about personnel. We are even talking about personnel emoluments. You know that the report from PSC talked about people who are on interdiction but in full pay. They talked about people who have left the service but on payment. So I'm curious to know from the Waziri here, if an officer were to be interdicted, just tell us a little bit what would happen. What just as in a short, maybe in half a minute, what would happen? So there is an issue that causes it requires interdiction. So what would be the actions that are taken?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. During the disciplinary process, and then, of course, culminating in an interdiction, this officer will be on half pay.
So such an individual would be called to some place before they are probably interdicted. They would be subjected to a process. Is that so?
Yes, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. There is a process, a disciplinary process. Of course, even before the process, starting from the first verbal warning, second verbal
So like
warning,
this person, to your knowledge, when did the process of the disciplinary process start?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, this, the subject person here and the commitment of offense related to issues of liquor. And this person had received warnings, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members.
I'm only interested in when. When did it start, the process of the disciplinary process?
I would need to confirm that with the county secretary, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members.
Okay, but at the same time, he was allowed to keep having an asset around and driving himself. That's all I want to know. And I'm interested to also know that he's directly answerable to you or to the CEO. Is that the true position?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, the said officer was using that vehicle. I confirm what you have said, Honorable Member.
We can move to something else, Chairman.
Yeah, let us proceed.
I would, there is this question about, and Chairman, I would have really loved the payroll person to be here. Waziri, there's a day you were in this assembly. We asked you whether you are in charge of payroll, and you answered in the negative. What's your answer today?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, very clearly in my mind, that very same question was asked by a member who is not a member of this ad hoc committee. And the response that I gave relating to that question, and the question that was being asked, was the payroll being under the docket of administration. I want to confirm here now that the payroll, as I had said then, is that I want to still insist that payroll is centralized.
Is the payroll under you?
The payroll
yes
is
or no?
The payroll is centralized.
Okay, let me put it this way. What do you mean by saying the payroll is centralized?
Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, the process of having the communication from the board, once the board have done a successful recruitment, then the board does a communication through the office of the county secretary. Once this goes to the office of the county secretary sends the letter to the department that the CEO of the department that this recruited officer is going to, and the CEO for public service. And the purpose of, again, that letter going to the CEO for public service is for that letter to go to the registry and the letter to go to payroll. Again, once this has been effected in the payroll, then after the payroll manager closes the payroll manager signs and sends that to the human resource, then it goes to finance. So you see, in this entire process, Honorable Chair, this information is not coming to the CEC.
Now, Waziri, nobody has said information is coming to you. Do you agree with me that the CEO administration and now Mr. Misoia is the person who transmits any name to the payroll? Is it true or false?
Honorable Chair, honorable members.
Okay, Waziri, yes. Mr. Miso, you are now the acting administrator. You are the chief. You are acting CEO administration. What is your role in making sure that now when the letter comes from the county secretary to you?
Thank you, Chair.
For registry, an online onward transmission.
Yes.
Where do you transmit the letter?
Thank you, Chair. I think Waziri has given an indication of the flow from the board to the registry, but let me reiterate, and maybe to also give reason why Waziri is trying to call it a centralized function. HR Director is directly under me.
No, please.
Yes.
I don't want much stories. When the letter gets out of your office, where does it go?
It goes to the HR Director who is under me.
And then after there?
HR Director has two roles. Apart from the broader roles on training, HRD, HR management, there are two roles on the transmission of the letter for the HR Director. The HR Director needs to ensure that this new employee who has been employed by the Public Service Board, transmitted through the CS to the Chief Officer, now to the office of the HR Director, she needs to do two things. Ensure that the records of the staff, of the new staff, the file is created in the registry and filed for that new staff after confirming that, the documents for this new staff, it has come through the correct process. So he ensures that the records of whether it's an appointment letter, the new appointment letter, is found in the registry. The file is created. The registry staff are under the HR Director. The other role of the HR Director is to ensure that the same new staff, so this one was the manual records in the registry, the same staff, the digital records of this staff needs to be conveyed to the payroll manager into the IPPD. So those are the two things. Into the registry, the manual records of the staff, into the payroll, the digital records of the staff. I think that's clear. So that is the role of the HR Director to make sure that happens. Where Waziri was talking about centralized function of payroll, is that there is another dotted line between finance and the payroll unit because of payments of salaries. Payments roles lies in the finance department.
Just a little. Now, Mr. Misoi, now that you've clearly indicated, when the letter comes from the
County Secretary to myself,
to you,
to the HR Director.
With the current crisis, where did the lapse occur?
So on the current crisis, because the reports by the PSC has given a lot of things, including what their findings. The board, as certain in their own findings, has given the indication for revocation. It means that the transmission of employees did not follow that process I've just described. Did not come from the secretary to me or to the holder of office of the public administration to the HR to the payroll. So that process was not followed, and that's how probably the board mentioned and revoked the letters because of an irregularity, because there are no documents that went through that process.
Chair, with all due respect, these people have given us the entire process of payroll, whereas the question was very simple. Under which docket does the payroll falls? It's very simple. There is no any single department in this county that is not manned by anybody or any head accounting officer. Can they give us?
Okay, let me put it in another way. Waziri,
Yes, Chair.
Is the director payroll or is it the manager payroll?
The manager.
And the director HR? Which department are they under?
The manager payroll and the director HR. I would say the director HR functionally and realistically is at administration. The manager ideally is in administration.
Now,
but
you've answered
realistically,
you've answered the question, Waziri. Let us continue.
Honorable Chair.
You know, Waziri and the CEO, we need to be precise.
In 10 seconds or possibly
so that we don't create confusion. Because it is now common knowledge with a layman understanding that if the two people are under administration, it is now common that the payroll is under administration.
In 10 seconds, or probably
Okay,
so.
let me give you 10 seconds.
Thank you so much, Chair. You know, the reason as to why we were giving this continuous flow, and the reason as to why I have talked about ideally and realistically, is because, Honorable Chair, you have heard of this tracking of information that comes from the board, communicated through the county secretary, goes to the CEO.
The 10 minutes, they say 10 seconds are over.
Goes through the CEO. He has eaten my 2 seconds, Chair. Goes through the CEO. Then again, if I ask the CEO now seated next to me.
So, through the chair, you talked about realistically. I don't know what that means. What did you say? Realistically? Just finish that statement.
This payroll
And we are talking about payroll manager. Realistically, finish the statement.
Should be under administration.
What is he under now?
Chair,
we have not asked you to speak.
Now, the reason as to why even when I came here, then,
Where is he under?
I said centrally to mean office of the county secretary.
Now, Waziri...
Just hold on. Chair, sorry, Chairman. I didn't want to say hold on to you. But did you just say, could you just confirm that, what you said? That the payroll manager is under who?
The county secretary. Before you said I had finished the 10 seconds, there was something that I was giving here. You know, there is an account of the letters that are coming from the board to the county secretary to the CEO. Now, these letters that are coming from the board communicated through the county secretary.
Honorable Chairman, I think that's enough. He says it is under county secretary.
Let us proceed.
May I ask then, among the
okay, hold on a bit, Honorable Maina. You know now, Waziri, if I'm not wrong, you are just contradicting yourself. Before you mentioned the county secretary, you had mentioned the Department of Finance.
Clarify, it was the chief officer who mentioned the dotted line and the Department of Finance.
Okay.
I wanted to ask Chairman, I know it's been a long day for some of us, but among the things that were missing or something from an outside payroll to this, I listened to you and you gave a long story about being prescriptive. The thing that the PSC noted was that you did not supply, or at least it was not supplied, 19 months worth of manual payroll. I don't know whether you have supplied that to this committee now. And could you tell us a little bit more about manual payroll?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, to be very clear, because I don't want to lie under oath again, is that that list of manual payroll is not in my possession. and I would have really lied or tied myself to say I can be able to supply that list of manual payroll. I've also been asked to explain this manual payroll. The integrated personnel, the IPPD, has staff who have got PF numbers. Then there are staff who have not gotten the PF numbers, who are paid outside the IPPD, and that constitutes the manual payroll. Honorable Chair.
Okay, Honorable Bitok.
Yes, Chairman, through to CCM and the CEO. Finally, mine is just a general question. You are trying to move out of the others and blame them, but we are all the people working in Nandi County and the CCM and the cabinet. All these things that have happened, always the thief is clever, but he cannot be more than the investigator. Yeah, and this is something which is known. All the things that we've seen or that we have been following, if Nandi County fails today, the people who have made everything that we are still on investigation, they are us. And even though this blame game will come up to the assembly. But we are trying to wash our hands, say that all these things, they will finally be somebody who will take the gross. And today is a Friday when Jesus Christ was crucified. And one in future, although a man is not going to be crucified because he no longer saves anybody,
Okay, maybe honorable members, I think we need to bring the session to an end.
Before that, Honorable
And
Chairman.
maybe before I bring the session to an end, I will give maybe anybody that has any issue so that we don't close.
Okay.
And let us start from Honorable Sum, coming to Honorable Bet, and finally Honorable Kogo and Honorable Maina.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I have two questions to the officers. One is that the responsibility of lighting our small centers in our wards is under the administration. I wonder what plans do they have to make sure that the lights that were there that are not functioning now is brought back to function. And then the other question is, now that we were talking about the manual payroll, I wanted to know if they are among those in the manual payroll. And then lastly, there is a document from that we have from the Kanawasco, and the CEO has seconded some staff to Kanawasco. Is that his responsibility? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Tolole.
Thank you so much. Mine will be so brief. I just want to ask our CEC, do you think you've been performing your duties due to the crisis that we have in Nandi County at the moment? Do you think that you've been doing your work? Thank you so much.
Chair.
I think, honorable members, let us take all the questions as you note them down so that when you respond, you will just respond them once. Honorable Tufosa, as we come this way.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I only want to ask a simple question to our CC. How do you rate yourself, Honorable CC, in your department as CC administration, as per the interaction you have taken? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My question is to the CC. How far have you gone on matters on public transport sector, more so in the overlap in operational spaces? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, I wanted to ask the CC and CEO about the parking lots across the Kapsabet town. It is very disorganized, and in fact, the car owners are parking their cars on Amaram Road. Across the roads, kindly, what have you taken to bring the down to bring the town into order?
My questions.
No, Chair.
Sorry.
Chair, yeah, I have a question for the CEC. While going through the report by the PSC, there is a recommendation on page 39 on the issues of payroll. And the report says, on payments of salaries outside IPPT system. It says 2 sets of data were provided for analysis, one by CCM in charge of administration, public service, and ICT, and another by the county payroll manager. So in the observation, the audit team requested for manual payrolls for 22 months covering the scope of the audit period, but were granted access to only manual payrolls for 3 months. So it says, for the month of February, the list provided by CCM had 22 more officers than the one provided by the payroll. So can the CEC shed some light on the same? Yeah.
My questions quickly. Actually, we might have required more time with you. The budgets for personnel emoluments for the 2 years under consideration. Your budgets for personnel emoluments and probably the justification for it. I wish to know whether the HR director and the payroll manager, did you call them that? Are they substantive to whether they are substantively in office? These two. I also wish to know whether on performance, not non-financial, whether the sub-county and ward admin in the 2 financial years and even probably going forward, are they under performance contracting? And can you supply to these houses immediately their PC contracts for our perusal? I also, the last one, Serem Celsiad. We are informed that that is under your docket. You seem surprised. Serem Kettle Celsiad. Are you conversant with that? I would like to know the amounts used so far, and probably briefly the status of that project. When I say status, I am referring to probably value for money and things to do with whether it is in use or not. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, a quick one. Allow me to ask the CC and CEO about the number of hired vehicles or cars across the department, and at what rate is being hired. Thank you.
Mosby?
Mine too. In the light of the current situation where we are all in agreement that finally some of the staff that have been removed from payroll through the processes, the proper processes, will have to come back. So my question is, how are you going to expedite this? I know you will tell me that it is the preserve of the Public Service Board, but since the Public Service Board is in any case domiciled in is part of your department, what are you going to do to ensure that we bring back, I mean, we finish? The current situation is not good. I know families are even breaking. There is the issue of bank loans. There are some workers who are sick and have been depending on, I know of people who are on medicine, some workers, especially from who are working, not necessarily residents of my ward, but even working in my ward, who are depending on the salary to buy medicines in order to continue living. What are you going to do to ensure that the current situation is managed in the shortest time possible? Finally, in the inception of the devolution, ward administrators were recruited. The 30 ward administrators were recruited from their respective, at least a ward administrator was recruited from each ward. As we speak, a ward like one for the Kaptumo Kaboi ward, you have Nandi Hills and others. The people who had been recruited there have found, or rather have left and gone to greener pastures. So, in a nutshell, these said wards, which I think there are about 5, you have the statistics. What is happening in those wards? What are you going to do about it? I don't expect you to talk about wage bill on this because it is a question of representation. Thank you.
Honorable Chairman, there is something I forgot. Since they are the people in charge of payroll, if somebody is on leave of absence, do they get as are they still reflected as public servants in this county? Just let us know, because there are people who have come here and told us they are on leave of absence. So are they reflected somewhere in the rolls? I think this is quite critical for us.
Chair, mine is on the side of the disaster unit. I think it is under the docket of administration. So, Waziri, how many staff are still on duty and how many are volunteering? And also the case of Kurkung, where the fire engine left to that place when it was already late. There were no security escorting the fire engine, and the resident in that area almost burned down the fire engine. Who could have been responsible if that one could have happened? Because they made phone calls right away, but the fire engine left the station late. Reaching the place, everybody was furious, and they wanted to burn down the fire engine. Who could have been responsible? There were no security to guard even that vehicle and the operators. Another question is that we have the staff of that disaster unit who, in one way or another, got injured when they were in their service. because the nature of their work is it is something which they risk their lives. So even they have they undergo a lot of problems, but there are two who are injured at the coast when they were in the service and have not been compensated. So we don't know what are the policies in that unit. When one get injured, when on duty, what are they supposed? Are they supposed to be compensated, or they will just treat themselves from their salaries? So another question also is on the side of public health. I think public health is in your token also. Public health. Is it not in the administration? It's in health. Okay, thank you.
Chair, allow me to pose another question. A
Yes.
quick one. Sisi, what was your tenure as a municipal manager, deputy town manager? What was your tenure?
Okay.
For how long did you work?
Okay.
Now proceed, Waziri.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start with the question on the Chief Officer, myself, seconding staff to Kanawasco. Department of Administration, Public Service and ICT, and Finance, Economic Planning, we are like the two support departments. Our staff are staff who support other departments across the other departments, like in finance, accountants, procurement officers. They belong to finance but support other departments. In administration, ICT, HR officers, and all these belongs to administration but are sent to support other departments. So the transfers normally is the county secretary who normally transfers a staff from a department to a department. But you know, there's what you call a best practice, because the finance and administration, we are the ones who have this support staff that we need to second. There was this special request that was made expressly to me by the new MD, Kanawasco. He was assuming office, and he was establishing that unit to support Kanawasco. And I think you've seen the work that he has done there. So he made a special request directly to me to second staff to help him start setting up, to ensure that he collects revenue for the water or the Kanawasco, whether it's water or non-water revenues. So he made a direct express request to myself, and I seconded a staff. And I did it personally, but the tradition has to be from a department to a department is the county secretary. This was on a special request when the new MD took over Kanawasco, and I think the work there he has done a good job. On the car hire, the department, we have 2 vehicles.
Did you inform the county secretary?
Yes, I did inform the county secretary verbally that Kanawasco MD by the name Alfayo Lel has made a special request to my office to second staff to form the new staff that he was assembling to ensure that the services runs.
So you say that you informed the CS verbally?
Verbally, yes.
So how do you put in record the verbal communication?
No, I didn't put, that's why I've said in verbal, so meaning I didn't put it on record. What I didn't put in record is the staff that I sent to the special request made by the new MD. The tradition has to be, the county secretary needs to, and this was on a temporary basis because he had told me that soon he's going to be advertising those positions and the staff will return back to administration. So I informed secretary on verbally. Probably my error was not to ensure that that one was done in writing.
So where is the staff throwing his salary from? Is it from the Kanawasco or from the other end?
Most employees who are working in Kanawasco most of them are seconded because you realize the Kanawasco is a semi-autonomous entity. They still depend on government subsidies to run until such a time that they will make profits, and then all the staff will be returned back. So that staff was getting salary from the mainstream public service, which is the county government.
Through the chair, when you say special, was it written on the letter or it was in your mind?
It was written. Was chair, through the chair, it was written, the MD wrote a specific memo to me.
He wrote special.
It's not special as in there is something special about it.
I mean, was the word special on the memo?
No, chair.
Why did you consider it as special?
Because the MD was new and he was setting up the new team.
So
and
when somebody
it's
is new,
me
when
who
somebody
put-
is new, it means that's special.
You know, from the request and the fact that he was a new MD,
What is the legal provision? What is the legal provision?
The legal provision for transfers of staff is the county secretary. But on this case, it was on a temporary request by that entity. So the staff was to go and perform duties until such a time that Kanasco will get
Did you
staff.
go against the law?
In seconding?
Yes.
I think
Did you overreach yourself?
No, I didn't overreach because a request was done officially to me, to my office.
So the question is, was that procedural?
Yes.
Was it according to the law?
As I indicated, I just said earlier that...
was it according to the law? It's simple.
The law here provides that the county secretary is the one to do it.
Chairman, you can help me.
So you've been asked a very simple question. Was it procedural?
It was not procedural.
Thank you. You've
Yes.
answered the question. So why should we take a lot of time?
Thank you.
Waziri, continue.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. There is a first question that has been asked about the street lights, and that this issue has really been a thorn because most oftenly we receive, or I receive, information to the effect that street lights are not working in a majority of our urban areas, our centers. And this is an issue that has been challenging because, again, most of the time it is an issue to do with payments, and it is an issue to do with Kenya Power. I have always talked about the problem of having a monopoly in offer of service, because then again, there is no competition towards offering that service. We have had a number of visits to the offices of Kenya Power to try and sort these issues. One of the issues that has been sticking out, Honorable Member, through the Honorable Chair, is that sometimes the bills of county government are lumped together without a clear separation. When we when the county treasury develops the budget, there are vote line for electricity, and these vote lines are in departments. Now, when you look at the invoices that come, sometimes these invoices are lumped up together, so that then again, sometimes the department fails to repair street lights on an account of an exhausted vote on electricity. I think I can see through the facial expression that the member for Lesos is getting possibly tired because of the long answers. Let me try to move very quickly, and if I forget anything, please let me be reminded. The manual payrolls. I just want to confirm that I am not on the manual payroll. I'm only paid through IPPD. I am not on the manual payroll.
What of your colleague?
I'm not on manual payroll. I have a PF, and I'm paid through the IPPD system.
Mheshimiwa from Chepterwai, you have asked, in light of all these happenings, if I think that I have performed my duties, and I can say that I have performed my duties to a certain extent. There are those that I have owned up and said that possibly it has fallen on my hands, and I admit liability on that. Mheshimiwa Trufosa, you have asked about myself, to rate myself. Possibly I would have rated myself higher before appearing before this house, but now there are a few issues that have been educated on in absolute honesty, and I would give myself a 5 in this rating. Mheshimiwa Kogo, you have asked on how far on public transport sector and the overlapping spaces. I just want to admit that I did not get that question clearly, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you. My question is, we have these transport sectors, including the matatus. Most of the time, they are complaining over the spaces. And one of the times that you wanted to move them from where they are to another section. Yeah, that is it.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, honorable members. One of the things that should be the aspiration of all of us, again in the spirit of collective responsibility, is to attract as much more investors as possible so that we can work on increasing our own source revenue. Part of those people that increases our own source revenue is the matatu sector. And therefore, again, we are encouraging them to come, but we should also strive to ensure provision of extra spaces and provision of facilities for them to continue working on. It is an endeavor that we keep to try. When you look at this budget that we had allocated some amount for parking bays, and that was not executed. Mheshimiwa from Kaptel Kamoywa asked on that specific question on the parking lots and the maram that are happening. With me is a letter from Kenya. We wrote to Kenya, or the municipality wrote to Kenya requesting to use their road reserve in establishment of parking bays, and they declined that particular request. It is an endeavor that we commit to still make and do a follow-up so that Kenya can grant us the authority to use their parking bays. Mheshimiwa Tarbei, you have asked through the report, specifically you have quoted page 39, where the PSC report cited that there was a set of data provided by the CCM in charge of administration, and there was a set of data that was provided by the payroll team. And I want to say that in this context, once the process of this process was starting, and I being in the steering committee, and the manual payroll not having sufficient checks, because it is a document that is generated in Excel and it is forwarded to Finance for Pay, I secured data for 3 months without disclosing to the payroll team what I wanted that data for. And the purpose of securing that data was then once the PSC team sets in, they will also seek for the same data, and we wanted to compare the two sets of data, the data that the PSC team received vis-a-vis the data that I received, to confirm the accuracy of the information that is being supplied, given that this is an information that is in Excel. And actually, that thing manifested itself in that there was a variation in the data that I had secured without disclosing the reason for securing that data and the data that was given to the PSC team.
Honorable Chairman, I'm curious, are you suggesting that you stole some data?
No, I'm not suggesting that I stole data.
How did you get it?
I went to the payroll team and asked to be given this specific set of data. I didn't steal. I'm not a thief, Mheshimiwa. I didn't steal.
No. I'm assuming that the payroll has got some passwords, and you said you accessed it without them knowing.
Mheshimiwa, there is the IPPD. That one is the one which has the password. Then there is the manual that is generated through Excel. I didn't take the IPPD, the system data. I took the manual payroll that is generated in Excel.
Who controls that?
The IPPD, the data through...
Where you got it from?
The payroll. I got it from the payroll.
I mean, this particular manual payroll, who is that controls it?
It
the
is
one that you requested for information?
The payroll manager. The payroll manager.
And did you say who is the name? What is the name of that person? Is he still in office?
No, she was interdicted. The payroll manager is by the name Rebecca Chemngetich Lagat.
Who was interdicted?
The payroll manager.
Okay. When were they interdicted?
I need to get that particular set of information clearly, Mheshimiwa.
Honorable Chair, I think that is information that might be important to us. Those two officers that he's talking about.
Mheshimiwa, from Olesos, you have talked about the budgets for personnel emolument for the 2 financial years in question, 22-23, 23-24. Personnel emolument for 22-23 was 43,263,340. Personnel emoluments for financial year 23-24, 103,509,063. Human resource director and the payroll manager, whether they are substantive. And I want to say that first of all, this human resource director is an acting position. It's acting. Then the payroll manager is a human resource officer designated in that position to be the payroll manager. The payroll manager, that is a human resource officer designated for that position of the payroll manager.
Name?
That is Rebecca Chemngetich Lagat.
The one that she was interdicted?
Yes.
Rebecca was interdicted?
Yes.
And you are referring us to this one? Or who is there now?
You asked of 2 officers. The one who is there now is called Talam Tion. Talam Tion.
So we want to talk about somebody who is in office.
Okay.
Is that substantive, this Talam Tion?
No. It's not. It is not substantive. It's not substantive.
He is acting.
He has been designated to perform the duties of the payroll manager.
So he is acting.
What is his
not
position?
Substantive.
He is a human resource officer.
So that completes everything is acting. From payroll, HR, CEO, service board,
I thought you
and
wanted,
everybody else.
I thought you wanted to conclude that the CEC, the CEC is not acting, is substantively in office.
Do you find that normal? CEC, do you find that normal?
I was just inquiring something from the CEO.
Is it normal? Is it? I mean, even when you look at it, is it okay? Is it normal?
Honorable member, you have taken me through this journey, and I have seen that it is not normal.
And this,
you have actually taken me through this journey.
And this Talam, you say he answers to who? Who appointed him as acting? Does he have a letter?
Let me let the chief officer to please assist me in that one.
Thank you, Chair.
Who appointed him? Just answer simply.
The county secretary.
Including the 2 of them, the HR director?
Yes. On that note, on the HR director, the reason why she's acting, that position was advertised. A person was recruited, successful.
No, that's okay. I'm just asking.
The county secretary.
All of them signed by county secretary?
Yes.
Are those the only ones signed by county secretary, or others are also signed by county secretary across board? All other directors in other departments, or it is just these 2?
Through the chair, I have no knowledge about any other director that has been appointed by the CS. I know the ones that are in administration.
And they could not be signed by the service board?
Okay, Honorable Minor, I want to confirm from the CEO the issue of acting. The CS was here, And he categorically said it doesn't appoint. Is it true or false?
What I'm saying is true, is that the payroll manager...
I'm asking you the question. The CS told us that it doesn't have the powers to appoint. To the best of your knowledge, did he lie or he said the truth?
That's why I was saying I need to know the directors.
You know, Mr. I don't need much explanation. I just want to say, to the best of your knowledge, and going by the words of the county secretary, is it true or false? Does he have the powers to appoint?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Finish.
On performance management contract by the sub-county administrators, the sub-county administrators are supposed to sign performance contracts with the chief officer. The chief officer has informed me, that is what I was inquiring, is that the sub-county administrators have not signed the performance contracts with the chief officer. Serem Kettle Sales Yard.
Maybe Waziri, for clarity, are they supposed to sign?
They are supposed to sign with the chief officer.
With the chief officer, who is Misoi?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
And you've not implemented?
Thank you, Chair. The process of signing performance contract was started last year with the signing of the governor and the CCs with the CEOs.
You know, Misoi, the problem with you, you want to give a lot of explanation. I've just asked a question that the CEC has clarified
yes,
that
Chair.
you are the one that you should oversee the signing of performance contract by the sub-county administrators.
Yes, I should.
Now, you've not implemented.
Yes, I've not implemented because there is a coordinating unit called the PCU who need to draft those performance contracts across departments for CEOs to sign with the next level of signing. That is the CEO and the next levels. What has been done
will I be wrong to say that there is some form of laxity?
Currently, we don't have the PC unit, which is called the Performance Contracting Unit, who coordinates.
Who should form the PCU unit?
The County Secretary.
Waziri, proceed.
Honorable Chair, probably a question also. I know we are tired. So you answer to who?
Myself?
Yes.
To the CEC. We have actually signed a performance contract with the CEC, and I have submitted to this
that's
house.
okay, I'm satisfied.
Yes.
CC, is he accountable to you?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Okay.
Finish the remaining questions.
The Serem Cattle Sales Yard is not under us, the sales yard. What was under us in the budget is the Serem Abolition Block. Serem Abolition Block. It's not Serem Sales Yard.
Okay, it was indicated that it was under you, but anyway, so the ablution block, has it been done?
No, the abolition block has not been done because it was tendered out and it became non-responsive.
Proceed, Waziri.
Thank you so much, Chair. Another question that was posed is on the leave of absence by officers. Once an officer takes leave of absence, they are not in the roles, they are not in the payroll as when they take the leave of absence. They are on that role on the position that they have taken, but they are not on the payroll on the position that they have vacated to take this other higher position.
Do you have such a role, the one that you have just referred to?
A role like?
You say they are not on the payroll, but they are on another role.
I'm saying on the position that they have been elevated to. For example, a sub-county administrator elevated to the position of the CEO. Is in the payroll on this position of the CEO, but is no longer in this payroll on this position of sub-county administrator. That is what I'm saying. I'm not saying there are two roles for the ones which is this and for this other one. I'm saying is on the payroll on the account of this position that they have been elevated to, but not on the payroll in this other position.
What of somebody like Misoi now who is acting as well as a CEO in ICT? Is he supposed to get something from both capacities?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Acting allowance is only for someone who is acting on a higher position than the position which they substantively hold. Like, for example, you have been appointed to act in the position of director, which is job group R, and you are in job group, you are in job group P. You are entitled to 15% of your basic pay for this position of P. Now, for the case of Misoi is in job group S as a substantive office holder for the chief officer position.
Not paid any other amounts apart from the ones that I was appointed, so there's no acting allowance paid.
On the issue of hired vehicles, I want to confirm that in the department we have 2 hired vehicles. We have 2 hired vehicles in the department.
Now,
double cabs in Mecca.
Now, Waziri, what you've said you have 2 hired vehicles.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
How many vehicles are stored in your department?
We have vehicles that are not working in our department. We have a total of 6 vehicles.
Now, Waziri, can you compare the cost of repairing these vehicles against the cost of hire? If it were you, let us leave aside the government, the county government. If it were you, which option could you go for?
Honorable Chair, honorable member, if it was me in a personal capacity, I would still go for the hire in the light of this situation that we are in. And when I say in the light of this situation that we are in, motor vehicles are prone to depreciation. They are prone to wear and tear. So we have machines that have been in the department, like I'm accounting for a blue vehicle that is KAR, that was used from the local authorities all through. I am accounting for defenders that were bought immediately after devolution.
So, Waziri, let me ask you a question. On a monthly basis, how much money is paid to the hired vehicle?
In the department?
Yes.
On a monthly basis, 480,000.
480,000. Inclusive of driver and fuel?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
480,000. So per year?
Quick calculation, 240 times 12. That is 2.4 plus 800. It's around, let me just be clear.
Waziri, you had said you are paying for it, so can you clarify?
I have had 240 per vehicle. We have 2 vehicles. That is 480. So it was easier for me in calculation to do 240 times 12 10 times 2.
That is 5.7. million per year. Enough to buy a new car.
Maybe, Honorable Chair, to help us, could he supply the payments for this certified?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. There is an issue that has been raised on the supply of the payment vouchers. I just want to make a request, and it's a request to the committee. The Department of Finance will still be appearing, and I'm requesting that they can bring the payment vouchers because they are the custodians of the payment vouchers, Honorable Chair. For this particular issue.
On that issue of the hired vehicles, the department is spending 5.7 million.
5,760,000.
Yes. To me, is this not equivalent to the cost of a brand new vehicle?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, there are factors that we need to look at. Number one, these 5.7 million could be equivalent to the price of a new vehicle. But then again, putting into the consideration the resource envelope for that particular year. Because then again, Honorable Chair, honorable members, you know, the route of fixing and repairing these old cars, again, you factor in the delay in execution of services and activities.
Waziri, what is your take about stolen vehicles in various garage yards? Because when you go to Kipsebo, Eastview, all the way to Eldoret, we have county vehicles that are in those yards. What is your take?
Honorable Chair, honorable members, it is a sad situation seeing the state of those vehicles. And
So Waziri, because it is a sad situation, do you agree with me that there is contravention of the PFM, the Procurement Act?
Mheshimiwa, unless
the Procurement and Disposal Act 2015.
Honorable Chair, unless you direct me specifically to the Contravened Act.
Do you agree?
No, unless you direct.
We have sections of the Procurement Act. I might not quote it directly.
I might not then.
And that is why it is Procurement and Assets
Public
Disposal.
Procurement and Asset Disposal Act.
Yes.
But then again, Mheshimiwa.
So going by that act, I might not quote the exact section, but do you agree that there is some contravention of that act?
Allow me not
where
to agree.
It gives procedures on how public assets can be disposed, rather than leaving them to rot at the various garages.
To that extent of the provision of disposal, I want to agree. No, I want to agree, Mheshimiwa. To that extent of disposal, I want to agree.
Okay, thank you. Proceed.
There was a question that was asked by Honorable Mosbey that in light of the current situation and that the families are affected and that it is affecting a lot of people, it is affecting service delivery, there is need to hasten this particular process to its logical conclusion. And I want to state this, that it is from where I sit as a human person before being a leader, that there is need to hasten the process. But again, we are faced between a situation where we are pressed between a rock and a hard place. We are faced between a stone and a hard place because, again, there is the issue of the wage bill that is tearing at us, and it is a life matter, and it's an issue that we have to make a decision on. But then again, we need to look at these people who are affected by this process. So we are faced between a stone and a hard place on this issue. We will
however, try as much as possible to communicate while we have the county executive committee meeting on the need to fast track this process. We are aware, Honorable Members, Honorable Chair, that the executive authority is vested on the county executive as a collection. That is a collection of the governor, the deputy governor, and the CECMs in total. So again, it is a position that I will advance for, and in advancing for, I hope it will yield good results towards fast-tracking this process. On the ward admins recruited in each ward, yes, I am made aware that that was the arrangement when the first devolution was coming. It was agreed that one ward admin would be picked from that specific ward where they come from. And then again, it disadvantages now the areas who ward admins have exited to seek greener pastures. I want to confirm, Mheshimiwa, that we will be advertising for those positions of the ward administrators that are now vacant, and I will not give the idea that you have mentioned of, don't give us the idea of the wage bill. We will be advertising for those positions. On disaster management, the staff that we have in disaster management were a total of 20. 20, and one of them, by the name Cheserek, who was on secondment, retired. So as it stands, all the staff from the disaster management unit were affected by this process. Mheshimiwa, you have asked about the Kurgung incident specifically. And this Kurgung incident and the delay, and then after the delay, the car reaches there and it is stoned. By the way, that car was stoned. They moved out of that place with speed. Again, I would want to say, in as much as we want to take a share of responsibility in terms of the delay, also we have to put into consideration the nature of that assignment. It is an emergency. And in this emergency, honestly, how would we then have said we would have mobilized ourselves to provide for security to accompany these vehicles in a state of emergency? That only compounds towards increasing the turnaround time for responding. Again, number two, you have to look at the weight of that vehicle and the distance between Kapsabetia all the way to Kurgung. I want to really plead with all of us again, because we have gotten this opportunity to plead with all of us, that again we need, and I know because we have the benefit of being live here today, allow me to enjoy the privilege of sending a message to the members of public live at the County Assembly that we need a lot of sensitization for our people. I have had a constant statement being used in this floor of the House that two wrongs cannot make a right. There is a delay. And then again, the wrong of chasing away that vehicle which has tried to respond, and stoning it or wanting to ban it won't make it a right. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, just probably, I'm sorry for, I had finished, but there is something that is a bit sensitive to the Wananchi. What is the cost of running the LED screen per day? The one outside there. And just very quickly, please, because now there is no time. What does it cost per day?
Thank you, Chair. The LED screen is a project that I executed 23-24. It's yet to be handed over because they are finalizing that project. From then on, once we will do a test for the next 1 month or several months, the cost will be only on power, that's Kenya Power, and the cost will be on the DSTV accounts. For example, we stream, like this Sunday, we are streaming the Chicago Marathon. Those are the costs, and we will be able to calculate and be able to know how we are going to.
So you don't know?
We have to do the dry runs for the power for the entire month for us to have enough data. We just went live a few weeks ago.
Fair enough. Health insurance, is it covered in your department for the county workers?
For the, is that the insurance?
cover.
Medical cover.
Yes.
Yes, medical cover is under the Department of Administration.
Could you give us the details for the cover in the 2 financial years under consideration? Is it true that there are some people covered and others are not? Currently. That's a question that I've been asked directly from Wananchi.
Thank you so much.
Or from workers.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. This is
Does it cover all or it covers some? That's all I want. All or some?
the medical cover.
Yes.
Covers all the staff.
All the staff.
All the staff.
There is nobody who is not covered.
It covers all the staff.
I'm curious to know, finally, your employment records. Just briefly, like you, Waziri, or where have you been employed before and so on, along with the chief officer? Just briefly. Just give us your employment records for the purposes of Wananchi. I know you said you wanted Wananchi to know.
I can start. Before I came to Nandi County, I was working with Moi University here in Eldoret. And before Moi University, I was working with Kenya Revenue Authority. And before that, I was working with Family Bank. And before that, I was doing internship. That is from the time I graduated in the year 2006. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. I have served as a personal assistant in the office of the senator then, who is now the governor, Nandi County. I've also served as a senior administrative officer in the office of the governor. I've served as a deputy municipal manager, Kapsabet Municipality, and finally the CCM in charge of administration, public service, and ICT in Nandi County.
Now, you are done, Waziri? Now,
yes, we're done.
I would like to make some directions, to give some directions that, as earlier stated, please provide this committee with the details of all health covers for employees. 2, provide the work ticket for the vehicle 29CG003A. 3, provide correspondence with PPOA. And Misoi, you know why I'm saying this? PPOA. Yeah, on the issue of variations. Provide correspondence to the effect, to that effect. 2, provide correspondence with the health department concerning the HMIS issue.
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
There is an issue. The CEO talks about checking with the municipality, yet I can see is the one who signed on behalf of the employer. I would want to wish Chair, don't allow him to duck the responsibility.
Chair,
the
can I give
responsibility is squarely
clarification
on him.
On the signing? Can I give clarification on the signing?
Yes.
Yes. You've been told earlier that there was a substantive, municipality manager, and then after that there was an acting. The point on signing is on the fact that currently there is no accounting officer for that. So finance, for them to execute at the IFMIS level, there has to be someone to handle the roles until such a time that we shall have a substantive accounting officer. So
we are about to end the conversation, Chairman, but I think the CEO is now wants to take us in cycles. Could you, okay, maybe briefly, when did the substantive officer leave office?
I think 2 months ago now.
When did you sign?
I need to check the document you are talking about, when it was
When
signed.
did you sign? It is almost 100 million contract. I don't think you
Well,
just sign like that.
What I'm saying, Chair,
Actually,
is
it's
that
115.
Okay, let me clarify one thing. In this last financial year, this is when the municipality became independent. In the other financial year of 22-23, administration, municipality was still under administration. So I need to know the document that you have so that I know whether I signed during
You
the other financial
explained
year. or
that the
this.
reason why you signed this one,
Yes.
the one we discussed, fresh produce,
Yes.
is because the substantive officer had left. That's what you said right now.
And that's why I needed to clarify, because I'm here to know the document that you have.
Okay, let us proceed. On the issue of the conditional grants, the Kenya Urban Support Program, provide a bank statement to that account for the last financial years.
Chair, you have said for which financial year?
Now, I will direct that you will have to provide since the inception of the Kenya Urban Support Program in Kapsabet.
Okay, Honorable Chair.
Yes. Then provide minutes for the variation by the ad hoc committee that was formed. Then there is this issue of the feasibility study report. You also provide that, a copy. And then there is the issue of Laureen Cherono acting as the municipal manager. Provide us with a letter to that effect. And then maybe provide the original contract of the fresh produce market. And then we also need a copy of the former municipal manager's contract, Richard Ngeny. And this one, and payment certificates for the same project. Payment invoices, inspection reports, and then on that, you will also provide us with the tender opening registers. Also provide us with the committee minutes, the evaluation committee minutes. I think that is okay. And for Laureen, provide us with a certified copy of the letter that she was appointed to act. Otherwise, I will now give Waziri and the CEO to give their closing remarks.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start before my boss to say thank you for the opportunity you've granted us to be in the presence of the Assembly to give our views, comments, and information that we have supplied throughout the course of this interaction. And we look forward to working together to ensure that we advance the interests of the county in matters administration, in matters public service, and in matters technology. Thank you.
Maybe, Waziri, before you give your, I need to indicate the day when the document should be brought. I think latest Monday at 2. Latest Monday at 2. Okay.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, for once again granting us the opportunity to appear before you this day. It is always a pleasure appearing before the County Assembly, because I can confirm to you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, that I have always picked and learned something new whenever I appear before this House. And therefore, again, I want to say thank you for this process being part of fulfillment of the Constitution, especially Section 50 on fairness. You have administered, you have given us the opportunity to appear before you and prosecute our position. And thank you for giving us a hearing out of the busy schedule and out of the tiredness born out of you engaging a number of teams today. Thank you so much. May God bless all of you. May God bless this ADO committee. May God bless the County Assembly. And may God bless the county government of Nandi at large. I thank you.
Thank you, Waziri. Maybe on behalf of the ADO committee, I would like also to express our appreciation for the patience that you have been here since around 9. You've actually been patient, so we also appreciate for that patience. We want to wish you well as we endeavor to make Nandi more better. Thank you very much. Maybe now I will request the Sergeant at Arms to usher Waziri and the CEO out. Honorable members, I wish also to thank you for the session, and may I call upon a proposer and a seconder so that we adjourn the session until Monday.
I, Bridget Songok, do propose.
Honorable Silas Kogo, do second.
Thank you, honorable members. The session stands adjourned until Monday. Thank you.